Welcome to this new Recon for the Zwift Racing League. This Recon is for the London Loop Reverse Scratch Race, which is just under 30 kilometers with 2 ascents of Fox Hill. This is where the race is going to happen. Let's get in to this week's Recon. Okay, thanks for joining me for this Recon of the London Loop Reverse. You're going to see some updates and changes to the format of these Recons. I listened to your feedback, I read the comments down below, and I hope you find these small additions and omissions streamline the Recons to make them more focused and time efficient. Don't forget, as always though, if you don't mind, do give this video a like, maybe leave a comment, but if you don't have any comment to leave, maybe just leave an emoji, because the engagement really helps out a lot and I really appreciate it. Maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. We have some new content coming up soon, which is not Recon based, but still relates to cycling esports. Finally, as always, on all the Recon notes are available over on levelvelo.cc community pages, and there's a link down in the description below. Right, let's get on with the Recon. Okay, so the London Loop Reverse is 29.8 kilometers with 460 meters of elevation with, as mentioned already, 2 ascents of Fox Hill, which is where the race could be lost for most people. First of all, this is a really great course in my opinion. The climb, although it will be hard in all categories, if you ride it smartly and really dig deep, there are some vantage points to help you get to the top with that lead group. And I will try and highlight those when we look at the race footage. Right, bike choice. I'm gonna say an all-round bike is a good choice. So again, something like the Zwift Tron bike will be a good choice on this, or the Scott Addict RC. However, it depends on your strength, weakness, or your skill as a rider. If you're confident you can make the 2 climbs with the group regardless of bike choice, then go for something a little bit more aero, both in terms of frame and wheels, because essentially it's a flat finish and an aero machine will be a big help here. In terms of power-ups for the scratch race, there are 2, and there are 2 that I would expect. Firstly, the feather, which will be a big help on the Fox Hill climb should you need it to stay in contact on the pitchier segments of the climb. Secondly, the anvil, which again can be more disruptive if you have some gaps to either open or close over the top of Fox Hill on the descent. Then again, this could be super useful to do that. Remember though, this is a scratch race and not a points race, so no points on the climb or the sprint segment on this particular race. And balancing your efforts so you do enough to disrupt or break things up, but not too much to burn too many matches, that's the balance to take here. Right, let's get in the pens, let's get on course, let's take a closer look. All right, so we're gonna leave the pens, we're gonna take a left, we're gonna head over the River Thames, down through the underground station and into those Surrey Hills, and quite quickly we're going to head towards the first ascent of that Fox Hill. Even before we get to the foot of the Fox Hill climb start official, it does start to drag up even before that point. So again, just stay cautious, keep yourself around the front just in case some moves are made early in this particular section. Just a quick heads up that all the footage here is quite recent, so this indeed is Pack Dynamics 4.1. In terms of the climb, 2.4 kilometers long, it's got an average gradient of 4.9%. All right, so we approach the red marker on the left-hand side here. This marks the start of the Fox Hill climb. The climb is going to start at kilometer 2.7. It's quite pitchy in the early points of this climb, 9 to 12% in places. As I've said, midway through, it does just shallow off slightly, but you're still talking 4, 5, 6%. But that's the opportunity, if you can, just to take a little bit of a breather before it pitches in again before the top. As I've said, even before the climb starts, the road does start to increase in gradient. So just be cautious even before that kilometer 2.7 mark. The final push on this climb is going to come at kilometre 4. This is where it pitches up a little bit. The road becomes a little bit more open between kilometre 4 and 4.5. Dig deep, get yourself over the top of this section with the front group, and then it flattens off as you head towards that banner. But remember, as you go past the banner, there are no points. So it's about doing enough to keep yourself with the group that's around you at this point. So once you've gone through the KQOM banner, you are going to pick a power up, you're going to take a right and start to descend Box Hill. Again, you're likely to have a reduced group, so watch out for those anvils being dropped on this descent. Gaps can open with the right riders utilising that anvil timing right. So again, stay switched on this descent. Use that anvil if you need to close gaps. If you want to open gaps, again, pushing on, using that anvil could be a good option at this point as well. So we're going to descend Box Hill, head towards the tube station with this little kicker here. And again, as you get to the kicker that brings you out of the tube station, accelerate as I did here just before you hit that kicker. Keep the pressure on. Once you get to the top of the climb, this is the place to have a look around, review how many riders, are there any riders off the back of that group, and again, you can decide on lap 1 to continue just to keep the pressure on, to again, further reduce that group, or just sit back, sit in the wheels for the next 5 kilometres through central London. That's when we're going to go through the start banner, or the finish banner, should I say, on the end of lap 1. So again, central London here, the next 5 kilometres you are in central London. Although not flat, the roads are rolling and there are opportunities again to further break down that group. But more importantly, I'll be sitting in, watching for moves, particularly if one team has a few riders in that group. Just watch out for some moves being made potentially in London on these small rises that we get. Then we're going to head towards the finish line and finish lap 1 official before heading back over the river and starting lap 2. Now I am going to continue the footage here through lap 2 so you can see the second time of asking up Fox Hill. All right, so we're going to head towards Fox Hill. This is going to start at kilometre 17.5. Again, the group is likely to reduce, so stay alert. Likely when it does just shallow off a little bit, the drafting effect is not going to be so great. But again, take advantage. If you want to be the attacker, the aggressor, use those pitchier parts where it pushes up to 9, 10, 11, 12% in places to make your move, providing you've got enough in the tank to keep that going all the way to the top and extend that lead. Because again, once you've gone over the top of this climb for the second time of asking, you've still got the descent, and again, a group behind with anvils could probably close gaps pretty quickly on that descent, and you've still got 5 kilometres there or thereabouts through central London before we get to the all-important finish line. We're going to take a look at the finish line now in a bit more detail, because again, if you've managed to hold on to your anvil, I think there are some opportunities in this finishing sprint to utilise that anvil to your advantage. All right, so as we get into the final kilometre, the road does go up and down here again, and it's on the little descents again where it's 2, 3, 4% where the anvil could be utilised to pick up that speed with individual riders, the group, or even a team attack on this particular section. But be cautious, again, utilise the riders around you. For me, I sat at the back of the group this one. I didn't panic when the other riders pushed it to 6 to 7 watts per kilo. I just utilised those wheels, didn't let the riders get too far ahead before utilising my power up and coming right through the group to take that victory. So again, timing and skill is everything on this finish line, but I do think there's opportunities potentially to utilise that anvil to accelerate the speed. That's it, that's the course around the London Loop Reverse. Don't forget to go and ride one of the many Recons out there this week. Thanks for watching, have a great week's training, and we'll see you soon for more Recons and all things cycling esports.